Let's consider the secret life of the innermost nesting doll. Living most of her life in the dark, inside the other nesting dolls, she has plenty of time to think, if she could. Sadly, she has no brain. However, when an innermost nesting doll hears that Geico not only saves people money, but also has been providing great service for over 75 years, she thinks it's obvious you should switch. Because yes, switching to Geico is a no-brainer. Pity the innermost nesting doll and her lot in life.
Geico presents yet another voicemail from your roommate.
Hi! So, about the kitchen. Turns out, when there's a grease fire, you're not supposed to throw water on it. Who would have known, right? Anyways, the fire department is here, and it's totally cool. Give me a call back when you get a chance.
The Geico Insurance Agency could help keep your personal property protected, like if danger is your roommate's middle name. Visit geico.com to see how easy it is to switch and save on renter's insurance.
Everyone has been destroyed because of this freak. I won't allow it! These babies just saved this lame fest party!
The internet can be your window to the world, or an open door that lets cyber criminals in. Online theft, webcam spying, and identity fraud are all on the rise. But you can stay safe with Kaspersky Lab, the world's most awarded internet security. Kaspersky protects your money, privacy, identity, and data with technology perfected over 20 years. So keep exploring. Kaspersky Lab will keep you safe online. Learn more at Kaspersky.com.
Hello and welcome to This Week in Geek here on the Geekcast Radio. Wait a minute, I'm TF2 and Mike. What the hell am I doing in Canada?
What's
yes,
happening?
folks.
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. I'm here and I'm back, and I don't even remember the last episode I was on of TWIG.
Probably about a year ago or so.
I couldn't even tell you.
I know we did it was when we were still doing Nerd News as like the main show, right?
Yeah, Nerd News. Yep. Yeah,
the like fourth or fifth iteration of that. But yes, Birdman is off. He's got some personal stuff to deal with, so I thought, hey, let's get somebody else back. Let's
get an American in here finally.
I would not let us go completely Mikeless for the week. So who can we get? Oh, that's right. We got the other Mike.
You're gonna kill me.
Oh no, I've already broken him. That's it. It's over. But yeah, so how the hell have you been, man?
My God, dude, there has been so much good stuff, but so much just. All right, so like, I wish I knew what the actual last episode I was on, because like you said, it was about a year ago. It doesn't feel like it was a year ago. It feels like it was like 5 years ago. I know it wasn't that long.
You know what? It might have been a year and a half, actually.
Yeah, well, basically, for the last 2 years, on August 6th, 2017, yes, I better get that right or else, let me back up. From December of 2016 until August of 2017, as of February of 2017, I was single again because I stupidly was in some sort of weird internet romance thing, whatever. So anyway, getting back out there with the dating scene, whatever. I'm not a bar scene guy. I'm not a this. I'm not a that. I don't do online dating. Is like, I know it like the back of my hand kind of thing. Whatever. So I join a couple of sites and I fill out profiles and all that stupid crap you have to do. I did not join eHarmony because I tried doing that a number of years ago, and I'm sorry. 140 questions or however many questions they have for you, it's like, oh my God, they never stop.
Yeah. I hear you, man.
So, talked to a couple people from February until like July or whatever else. And on August 6th, I had sent a message to a woman named Karen that I had seen her profile and I liked what she had said and everything else. This was on okcupid.com. The thing about OkCupid is they have you fill out these question and answer things. It's like eHarmony, but it's like survey questions. It's not you giving, an hour and a half long form essay answer type thing. Yes, you can write in certain things, but mostly it's like, are you a morning person? Yes or no. Are you a night owl? Yes or no kind of thing. I must have filled out like over 2,000. It was fairly easy. It was just and whatever. I didn't really care. So I messaged her because she said she had liked men with beards. So, of course, me being the geek that I am, I am one with the beard force. Because, hello, have you seen my, Sasquatchian style lately?
It's a very Grizzly Adams look.
Exactly. I will basically maul you, just like the Bruins mauled the Blues in Game 3 of the Stanley. Oh my God, that game. Anyway, that's sorry, folks. I get distracted easily.
Hey, you're talking to the king of that right now. Okay?
So we met online. We, started talking through the messaging thing that okcupid.com had. Then we eventually called each. I called her. That very day, that very night, we were on the phone for literally almost 72 hours straight, from August 6th through to August 8th, 9th, whatever 72 hours equals 3 days time kind of thing. We were on the phone consistently, never, the conversation just flowed. We made each other laugh. We did this, we did that. I was in Louisville, Kentucky at the time. She was in Chicago, Illinois. And by October, I think. Probably getting that wrong. But basically, by September, October, I was basically moving from Kentucky to Chicago. Now, I had lived in Kentucky for the past 25 years at that point.
And you just had to move back to civilization, right?
Well, Kentucky has a lot of misnomers. Kentucky has a lot of, conceptions that, hey, it's all hicks and country and
Well, you're not Mississippi. You're not Mississippi, and you've got that for you. So
far, I don't think Mitch McConnell has enacted the abortion, whatever the hell. Anyway,
yeah.
Whatever. I'm not here to be a social justice warrior at all.
No,
don't get me wrong, folks. I don't want people to listen to this and think, oh, no. Look. Women's choice is women's choice. It's their bodies. They can do whatever the hell they want with them. I don't, that's not my, whatever. It's just...
yeah, we're not going to go really deep into that, but, you'd think that Republicans and conservatives would be like, it's all about liberty. Well, shouldn't people have liberty over their own body?
Exactly.
And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's really all we need to say about it. So we met. I moved here. We were, 4 months after we met, December 6th, 2017. We got married. We're just in love and all that stuff, and it works. And after what I had been through with the online ex, it's like a year and a half. What the hell was I thinking? And I'm like, if it's right, it's right. Doesn't, people are like, oh, but 4 months is too soon. 4 months. Oh my God, you don't know each other. Oh my God, you're going to end up on Snapchat. Oh my God, you're going to end up on Forensic Files. And don't get me wrong, we love the true crime shows. Investigation Discovery, it's iNetwork.
I was going to say, isn't that how you always wanted to go, ending up on one of those cold case shows? No.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things where
I wasn't like, you shouldn't do it. I was like, wow, that's pretty fast. It's either going to work or it's going to crash and burn real fast. Really, those are the only two options at that point, and so far, so good, right?
So far, so good. And yes, I have pulled it up. Nerd News Network, episode 30. I think it was the final episode live from Chicago. It's TFG and Mike. So that was October 30th of 2017. So it was a couple months.
It's almost been a year and a half, eh?
Yeah, it's crazy. So we got married, and I am the least traditional person. I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. My mom grew up Roman Catholic, and then she eventually, when she moved down to Florida in the 90s, she switched over to being Baptist kind of thing. I believe in God. I believe in heaven and hell. I believe in all that stuff, and but I'm not a prayer person. I'm not a this person. I'm not a that person. I'm not an atheist. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want people to think that, spiritual but not religious, that must mean you don't know. I believe. I know there's a higher power. I know God exists. I know, Noah flooded the ark and, kept telling the rabbits, only two, only two, only two.
You're very, very similar to my mom. She's always been of the persuasion where it's like, it's religion is a personal thing. She believes most of it, but she's not a Bible thumper by any means.
And I'm not a churchgoer either. Like it's partially my ex-stepmother's fault. Like she wanted me to go to church when I first came to Kentucky, like every Sunday, every Wednesday, youth group this, youth group that, every. This is just my personal taste, so if it offends anybody, tough shit. I have much better things to do on a Sunday than spend 2 hours listening to some guy or girl, some man or woman, yelling at the top of their lungs why God is going to smite me because I believe in the fact that all porn stars' lives matter or whatever. Like, it's like whatever. So
if you want the crazy, later on in this show, I'm going to be retelling a story from like 3 days ago where I was waiting for the bus and a prophet of God came to talk to me, and she's convinced that God is a meteorite. So you'll have to listen later in the show to hear that story, which terrified me to my core.
So, like, it's just one of those things. And luckily, Karen, she believes as well, but we would rather go see 1 million different houses on Redfin than spend 2 hours in church. We'll spend 2 hours in bed on the Redfin real estate app than 2 hours in church on a Sunday.
It's all about finding somebody you're compatible with.
Exactly. And we differ very much because if you find someone that's so much alike you're basically dating yourself, and that just is creepy and weird and whatever. So we do have differences. Like, she has zero interest in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, whereas I most of the time love it. I haven't watched a lot of the later films. I was perfectly fine watching Infinity War without having had watched Black Panther. I want to see those films eventually. Like when they eventually release that big Blu-ray box set or whatever the hell it's going to be for Infinity War or whatever. Like, I hope to eventually have that. But, I'm not in any rush, kind of a thing. So the struggles that we've faced over the last year and a half of the 2 years almost 2 years that we've been together as of this coming August. First of all, getting medical coverage in this country is like a dentist putting a string around your tooth and just yanking, but it doesn't come out. Especially in the state of Illinois. Okay, generally you apply, you either get approved or you don't. You have to re-up every 6 months or twice a year, essentially.
Really? Wow.
You just recertify kind of thing. So it's they're checking in to make sure nothing has changed. If nothing has changed, your coverage doesn't change. If something has changed, your coverage will change. If Karen, which eventually she hopes to do this, but we're so broken right now, we just can't see it happening. She either will have to go back to work, or hopefully she will get disability as well because of the issues she has. If she has to go back to work, she has to find a job that she can, and she has a bachelor's degree in accounting and all that kind of stuff and whatever. She's a math genius, unlike me. when I look at meth, I think, oh boy, why would I want to smoke that meth? Just say no to drugs, folks. It's one of those things where if she did go back to work, she would have to be making enough money to cover what we're losing in food stamps, what we're losing in my Medicaid, because for some odd reason, if you make if your spouse makes over a certain amount of money, so SSI, supplemental security income, which is a needs-based program, basically goes away, which means Medicaid basically goes away, which means we have to essentially pay for Medicaid, which is like,
It's honestly, it's very similar here. In Ontario, it's ODSP, Ontario Disability Support Services.
Mm-hmm.
And if you make over certain couple, $300 or $400 a month sort of thing, they'll cut into what support you get.
Yeah.
The only thing that they don't cut away are, like, they'll look at your spouse's medical coverage and they'll go, hey, if there's something that their medical coverage doesn't cover that disability does, that's for a specific need you have, they'll still cover that one issue. But
so
it's very similar.
So we finally got all that straightened out for now. Let me tell you, I've lived in Massachusetts, I've lived in Kentucky, I've lived a couple of years off and on in Mississippi. I've been in other states where I've had to apply when I was staying like short term. Illinois is easily the worst state in order to get this coverage. I can't tell you how many times after we moved from the city to the house we're in now out in the suburbs, how many times I've had to call and tell them, update the address. Stop sending this stuff to the old address. If you want us to recertify and we don't get the information because you're sending it to the wrong fucking address, do your damn job.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so we're finally at a...
You're asking the government to work.
I know, right?
You know what I mean?
I know, right? Yeah. So we're finally at a place where we're both good with the coverage, at least until the next time you have to re-up, whatever. Thank God I've finally got all that straightened out, because it turns out over the last year and a half, which everyone online who's friends with me on Facebook or follows me on Twitter knows, over the last year and a half, the headaches I've had my entire life had gotten so bad that, like, basically if I have a headache coming on right now and I can't even sit here comfortably and just talk to you, I'll be like, Alex, dude, I'm sorry. We got to stop this recording. I've got to go. Karen and I were in a grocery store. We only got like a portion of what we were going to get in groceries. I'm like, we have to go check out now. I have to go home. I have to lay down in a dark room. I have to take ibuprofen, whatever I have to take. Turns out, apparently before I was even born, when my mom had, conceived me or whatever, when I was, forming inside of her kind of thing, apparently I didn't grow properly. Oh. There's a thing in the back of everybody's brain, in between the left and the right hemispheres of your brain. It's called the corpus callosum.
Okay.
I don't have one.
Oh.
So I believe, if I have this correct from what the doctors told me, if you don't have one, it eventually makes the hell's in the front of your brain, the ventricles in okay. Basically I have enlarged ventricles. Well, we all have fluid on our brains.
Yeah.
We just all do. It's the way it is. It's the way whatever. Well, apparently for the last 6 months to a year, I've had excess fluid on my brain, and it was causing such debility. I had to stop all function. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do light. I couldn't do sound. I could do nothing.
Well, I
at
even remember,
all.
like when we were recording with you, like I guess a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, there were a couple times where you're like, "Hey, I'm gonna have to bow out because you had a headache." Even then.
Yep. Yeah, I've said this already, other places and in real life, whatever. I believe I've had this fluid building up. It's not just been the last 6 months to a year. That's when it's gotten worse. That's when it had gotten worse. Yeah. I'm gonna say I've had this happening for the last 10 to 15 years building up and building up and building up until it got to a point where it was like, my head's going to explode. Because literally these headaches, it was like my head was on fire. And, you know that old cartoon gag where, like popcorn's going to start popping. Yeah. Yep.
Well,
That's what it felt like.
When you were going through all this, I looked it up and it was literally like, they're like, it's what if you're boiling water in a kettle and it can't escape?
Yep, essentially, yeah. So I had to have brain surgery. Yay!
Did you become RoboCop? That's all I have to know.
No, I do not have any. I did not have any parts installed in me yet.
Please get a phone charger so that you can just walk around everywhere.
I love how everyone's like, "Oh, please let us know how you're doing." Please, like, don't get me wrong. I appreciate everyone saying, "Please let us know how you're doing," but everyone was acting like my smartphone was gonna be at home in my bedroom or something. I'm like, I'll have my phone with me. I may not be able to use it properly, but I'll have it with me. I'll be able to update people, kind of a thing. So basically, the long and short of it is what they did was they opened my skull up. They made a room to be able to put basically a catheter, but a drain inside my head so they can drain the fluid off. So the surgery was to open up the little space to put the thing, and then I basically had two holes in my head. And the funny thing is like the day of surgery, my first thought was, oh God, I've turned into a Nickelback song. There's another hole in my head, because one of their songs off of the Long Road album is Another Hole in the Head.
But you see, this is what happens when you like and listen to Nickelback. We've got to warn JT.
Oh, shut up!
Because if we don't warn JT, he might just explode way over there. Like, no, but not to make light of it. But did you get to keep the brain juice? Because
no, I didn't want.
You could have kept it in a jar and brought it out to show kids, and
no.
And then like whenever you show somebody your head, you'd be like, "Look, I was bit by a shark," and then just show them your head, right?
Yeah, that shark still looks big.
That motherfucker grabbed me by the head.
No. Oh my God, no. No, I didn't. Are you kidding me? I can't even look at blood half the time and not.
But still,
no.
yeah, it was very, very serious, and I know that a lot of us we were like, "Holy shit!" So
yeah, we
were waiting, bated breath.
Yeah, there's one picture on my Facebook where I'm trying to take a picture lying in the hospital bed, and I've got my hand out and I'm trying to hold it up to my face for taking the picture and use my thumb with the button and whatever. It ended up slightly angled more, so it's super blurry and it looks like I'm dying. I'm not, but yeah. And the funny thing is, I'll tell you. That anesthesia was great until the nausea set in, and they pumped me full of anti-nausea stuff.
Oh, really?
The crazy thing about being on anesthesia is time lapse. I thought that basically my wife says it's common with post anesthesia, but I was thinking minutes passed. It was actually hours. Like, I woke up thinking, oh, that's been 10 minutes. No, it's actually 4:45. It's almost dinner time. I'm like, holy shit. Whatever. So for those that don't know, I was born with a mild case of cerebral palsy. It affects my right side, from my brain to my foot. My right hand is smaller. Right hand and right foot are smaller than my left hand and left hand and left foot, and they are not like fully functional. I always have to have my blood drawn on my left side, or IV, or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Karen tried telling them this and telling them this and telling them this. And at some point, they put an IV in my right hand. And as soon as I woke up, I pulled it right out. I'm like, I probably didn't say anything, but I'm like, Karen was like, are you not listening to us? Like, seriously? We told you not to put it over there.
How about this? Could they not just look and be like, we should probably put it on his left hand? Like,
exactly.
Like, really?
I don't know. So anyway, I'm all fit. Ever since the surgery, which was May 6th of this year, I've had one headache like I had before, and that was I think it was like last Wednesday or the Wednesday before. I basically am like I can go and do more other than the rest of my. Obviously I'm 6 foot, and actually the funny thing is, this is another part of the story. All my life, I've been an eater. I always joke and say, when I popped out of my mom, I popped out with an Oreo cookie in my mouth. Kind of a thing.
Hey, you're speaking to the choir, dude.
I've been an eater my whole life. The entire time after I woke up, I wanted nothing. I had no hunger. I had no craving. I had no nothing. Every food item I was attempted to, I tried to drink chicken soup broth, and that didn't work. Nothing worked. I was on a liquid diet for about 2.5 days that I was in the hospital. While in the hospital, I went from 407 to 397. I lost 10 pounds.
Nice.
So, yeah. So it's like,
So you keep on that diet, or has your appetite's come back? I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go longer without eating. Like if I have breakfast at say 6 a.m., I will try my best to get to at least, like normally I'll have to snack at like 9, but like crackers or something, nothing major or anything like that. Yeah.
But I'm trying to go until like 10:30, 11, noon, sometimes noon, just trying to get my stomach into a thing of, hey, we need to be, meal to meal without. Right, exactly. So that's what I'm trying to do now. And I'm trying to move more and walk more. The problem is, and I had this problem before the surgery, I am so not a hot weather person at all. Like when Karen and I were in Kentucky, when she came to take me back to Chicago, there was a point where I actually had to have her pull over the side of the road, and I stepped out of the car and I puked 3 times because I was so hot. I was so hot.
Well, you should move to Canada, where you have it hot for 2 months and then it's cold the rest of the time. Or you could move to where JT lives and be cold forever. I have no idea how he lives there.
Good. Poor Saskatoon.
I know, right? He literally lives in the stereotype of what everybody thinks Canada is. But yeah, I totally get you, man. Moving like in heat, it's hard to walk around and do crap.
Like, the other day we were walking out to go we were walking out of the house to go somewhere, or I was walking out to throw something away in the trash in the garage. And we've had, at least for the last week, we've had the AC on, and we've had it on 65. It's freezing in here. Like, there were several times in the last 2 days that my chest was, like, literally frozen. Like, I felt so many cold chills in me because it's so cold in here. But I step outside, and it's like, it's 66 degrees, and it feels like it's 96 degrees. It's crazy. Like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking, like, saying to Karen, hey, but Phoenix, Arizona has pools. It has all this. I'm like, 110 days of 100-degree heat. What the hell was I thinking?
It's a drier heat, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. But I don't know, man. It's just one of those things where so much has happened, and I'm happy that I'm doing much better. Like I said, most days I don't wake up with any pain unless it's like my side or my back or my legs. But that I can deal with. Those headaches. Oh God. Imagine yourself in a really, really, really dingy mechanics garage, and you put your head in a vise and you squeeze.
Ugh.
That's what those headaches were like. And
that's not good at all.
Oh, but it's much better. Like right now, I have pretty much zero pain sitting here. So,
well, that's good.
Good.
Do you have to get checked up, or like to make sure no pressure builds up again or anything?
Yeah. The next appointment is 18th with the neurosurgeon to check up and make sure everything's good. The crazy thing is, because I had 2 holes in my head, apparently I had to have my head closed twice. So in the front where you see the scar,
Yeah.
there's there were staples in there. Well, the center top of my head where they put the drain, that had a staple in it. And I'm like picking at it and picking and scratching because it itched like crazy. I'm like, what the hell? I go to the nurse, I don't know, a couple weeks ago to have the staples removed. She looks up, she goes, oh, there's still a staple. There's still a stitch in here. And I'm like, oh, God. Out of all the staples that she pulled, the stitch was the one that hurt the most at the time. But, yeah, but it's over. I'm better. I'm kind of back to normal-ish podcasting kind of stuff. I'm doing more stuff with the pullback than any other show right now because, honestly, reading comics is kind of like the easiest thing to do for me at this point. So doing that, and we just celebrated 10 years on the Geekcast Radio Network June 1st, so there's that.
Congrats, man. That's a lot. You guys have put in a lot. Probably close to, if not more hours than This Week in Geek has put in, actually. Because there was a point where you guys had, like a podcast every day, almost?
Yep. It's going to be a point where we do that again.
Oh, boy.
So, when we launched Geekcast Radio Network 10 years ago, we launched it with a couple of shows. A couple of shows launched on the day that the network launched. One of those was Tooncast, which is easily our most popular show. It was supposed to run 2 years and have 100 podcasts, and it did. After that, in 2011, when I ended it, a week later, I think on June 10th, I started Tooncast Beyond. So the whole premise between Tooncast and Tooncast Beyond, Tooncast was cartoons from anything from the Looney Tunes era kind of thing, all the way up until 1999. So it was all kind of cartoons from our childhood kind of thing. Tooncast Beyond was anything from 2000 to whenever now is. So DC Animated Universe films, the original DC Animated Universe films that they did, like Batman Year One and all that kind of stuff. Superman's ass. I mean, All-Star Superman. That kind of stuff. I did, and I wanted to switch it up and do it differently. So we did seasons. Season 1 was superheroes. Season 2, sadly, was the DreamWorks season. Nearly killed me. And we had done other things. And so Tooncast Beyond lasted from 2011 to 2018. My buddy Kevin Thompson, Optimus Solo, on Twitter was like, oh, let's redo it another way again. Let's relaunch it and just call it Tooncast and just keep going. And I'm like, okay, well, we're going to have the after tunes. Basically what we're doing is we're taking multiple shows, one podcast a day for 5 days a week. Monday through Friday, every afternoon, just like you would come home from school, watching a cartoon. Mondays right now is going to be the 2002 Masters of the Universe reviews. At some point when we get this started, Tuesdays will either be Thundercats or Turtles. In Turtles, we're doing all 4. Or was it 4? No, 3. 87, 2003, and 2012. I'm not touching that Rise stuff. That Rise stuff is for kids. I'm not touching that.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I love Rob Paulson, absolutely. I'm glad he's the voice director on it, but I've seen the rise of the TMNT series in bits and pieces, and I just can't. I just can't. Anyway, we're going to do Cops eventually, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to do 5 cartoons per podcast. I got this idea years ago from Michael David Sims and James Doe when they were doing their show, World's Finest Podcast. They were reviewing every single episode of the DC Animated Universe. Bruce Timm, BTAS, STAS, Justice League, Batman Beyond, Zeta Project, Teen Titans, all that stuff. And what they would do is they would talk about 5 episodes of like Batman the Animated Series in one podcast. And sometimes the podcast would be an hour, hour and a half. Sometimes it would be 2 hours. Sometimes it would be 3 hours. It just depended on how long it would go. I'm not saying that's what we're going to do, but, we'll have some sort of format to get through the 5 episodes, and it'll be a different cartoon series each day of the week, just like, how you used to watch, cartoons, whatever. So we're doing that, and that's going to be a huge undertaking. So, it is what it is, and
yay, I'm still here. Brain
Well, that's
surgery
cool. I
didn't
mean,
kill me.
I know that prior to when you were having your headaches and everything, you had been saying that you had lost interest in doing a lot of podcasting, and now it's kind of obvious because you were not in the right state to be doing so, and now you sort of sounds like you've got your love for it back again.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've always had a love for it. I just, because of the headaches, it's like, I can't do this right now. I just can't.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think this is pretty cool. So going into your 10th year and you're putting out more programming than ever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 10 years of the network and 11 years for me, because I started in 2008. The network didn't launch until 2009. We've put in... recording, editing, and publishing, we've put in, God, thousands upon thousands of hours. There's a website somewhere, whatever, that's, if you put in the times of your podcast, you can add them all up if you wanted to do so. Just on...
the total.
Yeah. So just on our He-Man and She-Ra podcast, Powers of Grayskull series, I went and added all. At the time, we were up to, I think, 99 episodes. 99 episodes equaled... we've recorded... Well, not recorded, because it's been longer than that. Basically, we've released 104 hours, 27 minutes, and 0 seconds of He-Man animation reviews.
Oh, wow.
That's just the final edited release of whatever was in, whatever. That's not counting the actual, because recording times take maybe 2-3 hours depending, and then you cut the shows down and it ends up being 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, and whatever it ends up being. But you're still spending 3 hours on a Skype call.
Well, actual finished listening audio. TWIG is sitting at 100.
Yeah, finished listening. Oh wow!
Literally, because it's 1,300 episodes, averaging about 1.5 to 2 hours each. So that's including all collaborations and everything. But it's literally, we've got a third of a year that you could listen to it straight.
Wow!
Which when I told Birdman, he goes, "What?" That was just like, what? I'm like, yeah, dude, you got I don't know, a good 3.5 months of straight content. He's like, we have enough for a syndicated 24/7 network. And I'm like, yes, but would you really want to listen to stuff from 2007 anymore? And he's like, probably not.
Well, I've gone back and I've listened to some of those old shows, and some of them are still really good. Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe, time flies so much. I mean, it's been, I guess now, a little over 2 years since I joined TWIG, and basically a year and a half since I took over producing editing duties, and about a year of running most of it with Birdman being the head content dude, and basically Birdman runs the shows, and I run all the back-end stuff. So, and it's hard to see how time flies with that until you're like, oh, I had no idea that it had been a year and a half since we recorded with you. I thought it was barely a year.
Yeah.
So, shit happens.
Yeah, shit happens, and I'm old. I'm tired. I feel better.
Aren't you going to be really old? Is it this year or is it next year you're turning?
No, it's next year.
Ooh.
I just turned 39.
Ooh boy!
So I'm on the last of my 30s this year. Yeah.
TFG1 Grandpa Mike.
You young whippersnappers with your hipping and your hopping, pull up your damn pants, you morons, and get off my lawn.
Wow. Because old. Well, actually, Birdman.
It surprises me
a lot too. So he's getting close.
Well, that's because he's a Wolverine fan. Yeah, he's getting close. He's got a couple of, that's what amazes me so much. There are a couple of my Facebook friends that are older than me, or a couple of my podcast friends that are older than me significantly. But half the time, I look at all of us and I'm like,
fuck, I'm the oldest. And even if it's just by, like, Mike was born in 81, Optimus Solo was born in 81, Steve Megatron's a fucking baby. He was born in 86.
Megatron is like 10 months older than me.
Oh, God. Movie-year-old Dan was born in 84. It's like... And what really gets me is, like, some of us that were born in 80 that are take Spade of the Balt Matrix. I was born in February. He was born in August. So we're, like, 6 months apart from each. I'm 6 months older than Spade of the Balt Matrix kind of thing. And it's like, fuck, I'm so old.
Like, I was going to say, I don't even know anybody that was, like, friends-wise that aren't, like, friends of parents that were born, like, before, like, 1979, right? Like, but I realized you would have grown up with a lot of 70s kids.
Yeah. Luckily, we were all 80s kids.
Fair enough. Okay.
Luckily. Because, I mean, you go through, elementary and middle school and high school and all that and everything else. You grow up in the times kind of thing. And I didn't have a lot of old, like, there weren't, like, older, like, take the show Recess with TJ and Spinelli and all that cartoon series that Disney had years ago. The kindergartners are over here, TJ and his crew over here, the other older high school kids are like, it's basically like cliques. I mean, it really is. I mean, you think of as much as probably everyone hates this film, I love it. I don't care. You take Patrick Verona and Heath Ledger and 10 Things I Hate About You, and you take that movie and it's like high school. You got the coffee kids, you got the jocks, you got the this, you got the that, you got the whatever, and it's like it's nothing but cliques. That's really what it is.
I was
like,
a rare chameleon where, like, I would go a week sitting in the cafeteria with the jocks, and then I would go hang out with the freaky kids. I would then go hang out at the library, or I would go hang out with the kids playing soccer because they were going to buy me pizza. And I'm like, sure. I was that kid, or like my friends would be like, "Where's Alex?" And be like, "Oh, he's hanging out with the grade 12 kids when I was in grade 9." They're like, "Why?" It's like, he's tall enough, he passes as one of them. So I would just hang out with him. And yeah, I never really had that click, but I was the chameleon that could go within. And then as I got older, like, you get to grade 12, and I'm looking around, I'm like, I don't fit in with anybody anymore. They're all gone. They're all older than me.
See, that was the coolest. That was the coolest thing about my junior and senior year. So, because of the situation I was in Kentucky, I ended up in. This will be a short story. I ended up in state's custody in 1995. In my technically it was the last year of 8th grade, even though I had to repeat it because apparently failing health and PE is you must repeat kind of thing, according to my stepmother at the time.
According to the South.
Yeah, exactly. So I repeated 8th grade. Instead of graduating in 1998 of high school, I graduated in...
Sorry, but I'm actually wondering, this brings something else up. If, like, you have mild case of cerebral palsy, shouldn't you have already been exempt from normal grades?
I wish.
Like, not
I
that
wish.
you didn't have to do it, but, like, you should have bbeen held to a slightly different standard, right? Like,
I wish.
They're like, climb this rope, like, with one arm? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, I used to be able to, because all my strength obviously is on my left side. I used to be able to do the rings like one-handed.
Oh, wow!
Used to. Keyword there, used to. In middle school and high school, I was like $120. So, well, not high school.
So
middle school, I was. So
basically, now it would rip your arm right out of its socket, right?
Or you kid? Yeah. It's no. So basically, instead of graduating in 98 for high school, I graduated in 99, and honestly, I could not see it any other way. In 1998, I got transferred to a different school, and I frigging loved this school. They had a media class. They had an old video toaster machine. We got one of the local TV stations to donate their old set, like CBS Channel 32, like WLKY in Louisville, Kentucky. Jay Cardosi, the weather guy, came in, gave us the old set because they were upgrading their set. So donating it to a school, to a media class. We had a news show. I have an old videotape of the news show and whatever. I loved that class. If I could have taken that class for the 2 years that I was there, I would have taken that class every single day. I was, a part of. I was actually, which I don't understand this, but junior prom committee. Every other guy except me looked at it and just kind of shook their heads, and I'm like, guys, are you crazy? I was the only guy with 4 other girls on the junior prom committee. So you want to talk about a chameleon? I mean, come on. I was a stud, baby.
Well, not only that, you get the ability to actually shape how it's going to turn out. Like,
exactly.
Exactly. Like, it's lame. It's like, well, it's only lame because you didn't get to have any input.
Yeah, we ended up with a quote-unquote heavenly theme with angels and whatever else. Our junior prom song, Casey and JoJo's All My Life.
Oh, my. Because
what year was a perfect school for me? 98.
98. That was grade 6 or grade 7 for me.
Oh, God, stop it, you young whippersnapper.
I just remember somebody at it was a graduation from grade 8. They're playing some song, and I remember some girl falling down the stairs and like tumbling, and it was really horrible and really hilarious. And you see, those are the things you remember, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it was just so cool. And for senior year in '99, we had this school was so perfect for me because the colors purple, silver, and white, like, and we were called the because it was Southern High School Magnet Career Academy. So make all the condom jokes you want, folks. I'm proud to be a Trojan. But it was, seniors, we had our own cafeteria where we could actually watch TV or listen to music during lunch. Like, they say you can never go back to high school. If I could go back, oh man, I would so go back.
I wouldn't. Some of the choices I made back then, like, I wouldn't have. I would have tried to stay off the eating path that I went down. And
yeah.
There's certain things you make mistakes of when you're dumb and you're stubborn as a kid, but I basically ruled the school, and like I stayed an extra year because my guidance counselor neglected to tell me that I had taken too many spare classes, so I was 1 credit short from graduating. And they wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me just take one course over the summer. They're like, you have to stay the whole year. I'm like, what? So I ended up graduating with like 6 extra credits.
Oh no!
So that last year that
you're basically the Canadian version of Van Wilder.
Pretty much. Well, I was there. Like, I didn't need because remember, like, a lot of things were different than when you went, because Columbine had already happened, and 9/11 happened when I was in grade 9, and they started changing things like locking all the classroom doors. You had to get a hall pass to walk outside. To all this crazy shit. I just didn't. I was like one of the oldest kids at the school, and because I being born in February, so like by second semester, I was 19, and I was signing my own permission forms. I was like, I would skip like, I think I had like 90 absences in the one class because I just didn't go. And the teachers, I was called into the principal's office, and they're like, Alex, has to be a mistake. How many classes have you missed? I'm like, all of them. And they're like, how? And I'm like, because I don't need the credit. It's like, how come, your parents haven't, been informed? I'm like, because I'm 19. You don't have to inform my parents. And the dumbfounded look on the principal when I had found a loophole when they tried to make me attend, 7 classes that year, and I only ended up attending 2. Like 2 of my courses. I took a film class, and then I took, I think it was a math or something that I had to take. And I just got away with that, or I'd walk down the hallway without a hall pass. I remember taking one of the teachers out who was retiring. I took him out to the bar, and we got him drunk because legal drinking age is 19 here. So like I would go out. I wouldn't bring alcohol back to the school or anything, but like, where are you going? To the bar? What? You go to the bar and have a couple drinks. Or the big one was just being able to roam and do whatever I wanted. Basically, I would go into the AV room, grab a TV, and they're like, "What are you doing with the TV?" I'm like, "I'm going to watch a movie." And I would just grab a VHS machine and bring some VHSs and watch it in one of the rooms. You can't get away with any of that now. But
Oh, no.
for that
No.
rare period of time in 2005 to 2006, where everything was transitioning over to being like uber sensitive, like it is now, I was able to just get away with bloody murder. I brought a fake gun to school to shoot a student film. And
no!
I brought it to school. My film teacher saw it and went, "Oh my God, get that out of here!" And he goes, and I'm like, "No." And he goes, "All right, shoot it really quickly in the room, and then hide it from sight." And then we found out they were going to show all of our student films to the entire school, so I didn't go. And my film teacher was there, and he goes, "What?" And then the superintendent for the school board was there. A couple other principals. They wanted to see the student films, and then mine comes up. They see the big, lifelike looking Magnum that I had bought, which I had, by the way, taken a black marker to the orange tip they always put on the fake guns to make it look real. Shot the whole thing in black and white. They're looking at it. My teacher said he looked at the principals, and they looked very concerned. And then they looked extremely concerned when they realized that it was in one of the classrooms.
Oh, no.
And I said, "What?" He goes, "Alex, I had to explain that we used video effects to superimpose a fake gun in there." And I'm like, "What?" I said, "But we didn't." He goes, "I know. If they find out, we're both in trouble." And I said, I asked him, he retired recently. I said, "What would have happened if it happened now?" And he goes, "They would have called the SWAT team on you."
Like, of course they would have.
And he goes, "Alex, it was not okay, 15 years ago." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "You just happened to get away with it because for some reason you had some sort of high school magic." But yeah, like believe me, I get that. That last year of school was fantastic for me, so I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean the senior year for me was. You asked me earlier about exemptions for PE and stuff. Where, because technically I am slightly learning disabled as well. Math is my kryptonite essentially. 2+2. Yes, I can do like remedial, like traditional, like regular math, but you start throwing
stuff like basic stuff, like you can pay
like
your taxes and that sort of shit.
I can add, subtract, multiply, and divide, but that's about it. You add fractions in there, you add percentages, you add in fucking letters. Don't even bring that algebra bullshit to me. But so I was on a remedial math course. By the time I got to my final semester of my senior year, I had taken the media class, so like three out of the 4 semesters between junior year, and they're like, "Yeah, you're not going to be able to take it again." I'm like, "What? No, I better be like, come on." So I had to pick a different elective for the final semester. Oh, that teacher was so strange. I've never had an interest, like, how everybody, back in the day is like, ooh, parents are like, ooh, you have to go to school and you have to learn French or learn Spanish or learn German or learn, Moldavian or whatever the hell. Never had, or Latvian or whatever. I never had interest in the I'm like, now, sure, I'd love to learn French. I don't know if I could learn French right now in 39 years old, whatever, I probably could. But Russian was just, first of all, the teacher was crazy. Half the time he just let us watch movies.
Well, I mean,
he was nuts.
He was preparing you for your future Russian overlords, right? Like,
yes, exactly. Like Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
But like I can say certain things in Russian. Like everybody knows "Do svidaniya" is goodbye. I think it's. I'm trying to remember. "Privyet" is hi or hello. "Dobry dien," I believe is. It's been years since I've had to use this stuff, and I knew I was never ever going to be proficient enough in the Russian language to be able to use it. I just had to take the course because they're like, well, you have one period that you have to fill and you can't have two. I did have the media class the final semester. They wouldn't let me take it twice in the final semester because the teacher had 2 different versions. They had the version I was already in and then a more, and they're like, you can't take that twice. But please, come on. Like, I just want to have my cot over there. Like, come on. I live in this place. I'll sleep under the set or whatever kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
So a Russian class, whatever. Oh boy, this has been the longest intro this show has ever had.
You know what, it is, but it was worthwhile.
Hey, you gotta catch up. You gotta catch up, right?
Absolutely, right? I mean, hey, why not? It's going to make it easier because when I go into the news and everything else, it's going to just be me, so I'm going to be able to bounce them off, and we're not going to be lacking content. That's for damn sure.
Trust me, I've never done this since, but there was a time where I recorded with the Radio Free Cybertron crew. It's a Transformers podcast. It's actually the single longest podcast of Transformers ever. Brian Kilby started it in 1999 before podcasting was even a thing.
Oh, wow.
This was 2011 or 2012. It was basically myself, Brian, and like 3 or 4 other people, we sat here talking for 6.5 hours as the news was coming out of.
Oh yeah, you know what? Not just that. I remember you doing one or two that were at least 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
Was it Comic-Con coverage?
Yeah, probably.
And
episode of Tooncast.
I remember it took me like 3 days to listen to it going from work.
Yep. Yeah, they're way back in 2009. Episode 10 was our first ever big He-Man and She-Ra thing. That was back when I had the DVDs, and that was back when I still have it now, obviously, because I can record audio and whatever. When I first and being able to record stereo mix directly from your speakers instead of having to do it through the microphone, and it sounded so. I had the original He-Man DVD set, and I recorded an interview that I could record. Like every single bonus feature that was on those discs, I recorded. Basically, episode 10 of Tooncast is 2 hours of Optimus Solo and I talking about He-Man and She-Ra, and 2 hours of DVD audio. It's 4 hours, 27 minutes and change. The file has been missing from the episode for about the last the last half decade of Tooncast, and I finally found it, and I'm like, finally, I can restore it, and it's there, and I don't have to ever stress about it again.
Oh man, yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe we should do one of those like old Jerry Lewis telethons. We should do like 24 hours of podcasting, right? Right?
It's funny you mention that. I don't know if it actually was done within 24 hours, but again, one of my outside of Birdman and Snowball and Twig, one of my influences in podcasting was Michael David Sims, James Doe, Mike, as he likes to be called, runs earth-2.net. So earth / minus sign essentially 2.net. And he gave me all these tips when I first started about how I should do podcasting and how I should go about it. Whatever. He was the first one that sent me Audacity. And like that just the entire earlier this year, late last year, that he released his 1000th episode of his main show, Earth-2. It's 24 hours. I don't know if they've recorded it all in 24 hours, but it is quite.
I hope not. They probably did it over the course of a month if they were lucky.
Right, probably, most likely, and just edited it together. But it basically
maybe like 3 hour sessions sort of thing.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'd hope too.
Because that's how people die. Like, do you really want to be the first person who dies podcast? Actually, no. I'm saying that, and how cool would it be if you're the first person to die podcasting?
But then people would end up breaking my record. I don't want people to break my records.
That's true. You got to keep going.
Exactly. Like Steve Megatron and I, we're not overtly competitive with each other, but sometimes we are. Like right now, the Pull Bag is the single longest running show on the brand. And Steve was like, I'm gonna like. When I was in the hospital or when I had to take a break or whatever, I'm like, I'm going to pass you. I'm going to pass. I'm like, no, you're not.
Well, you know what?
Geek is like, go ahead.
If he ends up listening to this, I'll give him some advice. Do 100 1-minute episodes and then put those all out. And then, because we're not saying he's trying to beat you based on length, right? He's just trying to beat you based on number.
Number wise.
So he can be 1 minute tops.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, so I mean, that's probably going to wrap this up for here. We'll probably do. We'll probably have to have you back on again and do more and do some more collaborations, right?
Now that I can actually do stuff again, sure.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. So, I mean, it was really awesome having you back on again, and I'm going to have to close this part out, the introductions, which are, yes, the longest introduction segment we've ever done, and go into our reviews for the episode, as well as news, weird news, and a special that I hinted at earlier on, which I'm doing a series called On the Buses, where I relay stories of some of the interesting people or things that have happened while I've been taking city transit around. Today's inaugural episode is about a prophet from God who happens to believe God is a meteorite. So, and that's fairly recent. That's as of a couple days ago. So again,
what if God was a meteorite?
Exactly. So, thanks, Mike, for being here, and we'll
absolutely
have you again.
Basically, he's a geek, sir.
Leave me alone, geek boy.
Holy shit, you geeks are badass.
Got a fresh new Blu-ray to review here from VVS Films, and that's Gloria Bell, starring Julianne Moore, as well as John Turturro, Michael Cera, Brad Garrett, and a bunch of other people like Jean Triplehorn, Rita Wilson, Sean Astin, and so on and so forth. It's not in the usual wheelhouse of what I've reviewed in the past, because it is a like sort of romantic drama, out of the wheelhouse of normal genre films that we cover. But I wanted to give it a go because it's the summer of trying new things, and I thought, you know what, I really like Julianne Moore. I've liked pretty much everything she's done, and this is no exception. It's a pretty quick review here. It's a drama. Here's the basic premise. A free-spirited divorcee, played by Julianne Moore, spends her nights on the dance floor, joyfully letting loose at clubs around Los Angeles. She soon finds herself thrust into an unexpected new romance, filled with joys of budding love and the complications of dating. So it's your pretty straightforward, basic plot points. That being said, it's all basically hinged on her performance, and she does a fantastic job. I haven't seen her do probably a job this well since maybe like Boogie Nights, and she looks fantastic and seems to only get better with age. Visually, the Blu-ray set looks pretty good, with good color reproduction, nice black levels. Nothing was crushing, so pretty straightforward there. Audio-wise, you got surround sound track. You do end up with a commentary track, as well as a making-of feature and some cast and crew interviews. Pretty cool stuff. It's worth checking out. It's the kind of thing where it's going to go probably over to my mom and grandmother's house, and they're going to have it from now on. But I did think it was worth checking out. It's worth watching if you're not a big fan of these type of movies. It's still worth a watch, actually. It's probably one of the better ones on, release of the last few years I can think of that are, just a straightforward, decent drama.
Need a new weapon in your battle against evil? Check out LibrisArcana.com for Canada's premier RPG dice subscription service. For only $7.97 Canadian with free shipping. You can get a new complete set of role-playing dice from D4s to D20s delivered straight to your door. Dice themes are new each month and can be anything your mind can imagine and beyond. Visit LibrisArcana.com and subscribe for only $7.97 Canadian with free shipping, and be prepared to open up new worlds of adventure.
News on the march!
And it's news time. So I've got a couple quick ones here for you because I'm doing this solo. We have, the first story is DC Comics will stop double shipping books next year. So this is brought to you by a bunch of different websites like CBR.com. So I'll give you a bit of background here. DC's Rebirth relaunch saw many titles shipping twice monthly. So basically every 2 weeks you'd have a title, let's say Batman, come out twice a month. They've since scaled back on most of those, but they've now said they're going to end double shipping books altogether, with every remaining title shipping once a month in 2020. I wasn't aware of that many titles in the first place that were doing this double shipping thing, but obviously it's a means to save money. Like, they could do double shipping a month if they really wanted to push it on like their digital platform, because it's a little easier, but it's still it's a lot of stress on a lot of the writers and the artists, unless they want to put more ads in and less page counts. But it just makes more sense for them to go, just purely once a month, because it's just a lot of money in the printing press if nobody's buying them. So just a little quick story there. It's kind of interesting. I thought that this practice had stopped years and years ago, and I'm probably because I didn't even know that they were double shipping in general at all. I would assume that's probably one of the reasons why they're stopping doing it, because people probably didn't know they were doing it for most titles. So that is the first story. Just something of note, basically. Next story is Spiderman Far From Home third trailer leaks online. So it looks like it's been making the rounds on social media. So there is a trailer online that you can see. Depending on where you look, it's not going to be on a lot of the official sites, because somebody got a hold of the trailer. I'm assuming that somebody hacked the server of a website to get it, or because it didn't hit YouTube right away. It's just one of those things that just sort of organically hit the net, like Reddit and that. So I'm assuming that it's one of those cases of somebody accidentally leaked it. I don't think somebody would have hacked it and taken it like they did with the Game of Thrones TV show, where you were getting it hours before it was even airing. This is probably a case of it was set to go live at a certain time, went live at the wrong time, and then before they could catch it and stop it, somebody downloaded it and sent it around. So I'm definitely going to be checking it out, because I already have a ticket to go see the film on the opening day, which happens to be a Tuesday because of the 4th of July weekend. And because it's a Tuesday, means my ticket was like $7 to go see it at noon on the opening day, which is awesome. So, maybe do a little searching around and you'll be able to find that, which is pretty cool. And our final quick story here is John Wick's Keanu Reeves in talks for Eternals role. So, Marvel Studios has yet to officially unveil its plans following Avengers Endgame. However, along with its currently filming Black Widow, we know that the studio is ready to begin production on The Eternals in the coming months. And while casting news on the project has quieted since the news hit of Game of Thrones actor Richard Madden was reportedly in talks to play Icarus, a new report suggests John Wick himself, Keanu Reeves, is reportedly in talks to join the project in a mysterious role. According to MCU Cosmic, while negotiations are underway, Reeves has not yet signed on the project yet. With talks in the early stages. If Reeves were to sign on the dotted line, he would join the cast that already consists of Angelina Jolie as Cersei, I don't know how to pronounce that name, Richard Madden as Icarus, as well as Kumail Nanjiani and Madong Seok in mysterious roles, which they haven't been revealed yet. There are still plenty of roles yet to be cast. The Marvel Studios is yet to say anything but it's said to be eyeing out an Asian actor for a lead role, as well as a film reportedly set to cast at least 2 more lead female roles with Piper and Karen. So that's pretty interesting. It's going to be really diverse. I'm not really familiar with the Eternals. It also says, of the reported roles left to be cast, Reeves could possibly be eyed for the following roles: Druig, the Forgotten One, Makari, Star Fox, or Zurus. However, given that we don't know exactly which roles Nanjiani and Young-suk have reportedly been cast for, it's hard to truly narrow down which roles Reeves could be considering. Still, the report that Reeves may be joining the Eternals is sure to surprise fans of the actor, as he just recently reaffirmed his interest in portraying Wolverine. Reeves has been rumored to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe ever since his name was tossed into the ring for Doctor Strange and then Captain Marvel, a film he was reportedly set to appear in before dropping out due to scheduling conflicts. The report should be taken with a grain of salt at the time being until a more reputable source, but it has been reported by multiple people. However, it is worth noting that MCU Cosmic was the first site to reveal Marvel Studios was developing the Eternals. Either way, confirmation shouldn't be too far off if this proves to be true. So, filming on the Eternals is set to begin next year after Black Widow wraps production. Director Chloe Zhao, with a screenplay by Matthew and Ryan Firpo. The Eternals is expected to release in theaters in 2020. So, it's kind of cool seeing where these things are going, because they're not going down the same path of just your standard Iron Man type movies. It sounds like they're really branching out for the next phase, which is really cool. Now, the Eternals, again, I'm not really familiar with it. I'm just looking it up right now. And Eternals comic, let's see here. Eternal is humanity appearing in the comic books, blah, blah, blah. So Alien Celestials, neat. Oh, it's Jack Kirby stuff. Okay, neat. This actually looks pretty cool. So, you know what? Not a bad idea to be adapting that. And Keanu Reeves certainly is on an upswing, seeing as John Wick 3 is a huge success and they're doing John Wick 4. And, you know, he's got that Liam Neeson fame where he became an action star in his, 40s and 50s, which is kind of amazing. So, you know, that's going to be really neat. So that's going to do it for our quick news. And we're going to go with another review, and we'll be back with the weird news.
This is a fair request, and I promise I will not judge any person only as a teenager, and that this is no more right than saying all teenagers are drunken dope addicts or glue sniffers.
Our friends at PDP sent over their new line of rock candy wired controllers for the Xbox One. They've released controllers in this brand before, which are semi-see-through controllers, usually in very, very bright, fantastic colors. And these are no exception. Now, we received 3 different controllers. I took first dibs because they were being sent to me. So Birdman and Mr. Christopher will have to fight over the other 2. I picked the Aqua Lime, which is almost like a neon, super bright white and see-through lime-colored controller. The other 2 controllers are the Cran Blast, which is a cranberry / cherry looking controller, and I believe that might be the one Mr. Christopher's fighting over. I'm not 100% sure. And the other being the Blue Meringue, which is a very light, it almost looks like the fluid that you see your barber clean combs with, that really almost glow in the dark blue color. It's really, really cool. All of them look fantastic, and we'll wait and see what Mr. Christopher and Birdman say of their controllers when I get a chance to get them over to them later on in the next couple of weeks or so. So we'll get their thoughts on them. My initial thoughts from using it, it's going to be my go-to PC controller. Every controller that PDP has sent us before has been super high quality for a third-party company, and this is no exception. It's got some, weight to it, a decently length cord that isn't going to get as tangled as I thought it might, because sometimes the rubberized sort of cords can bend and be tangled. No issues here. It has inline chat, so 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, so you can use it in conjunction with the headsets that they had sent out, the level 50 controller headsets, which are fantastic. Probably, to be honest, the best headsets on the market that aren't from one of these companies that is trying to sell you a headset for like $200-$300, something stupid. No, they're probably the best sub $100 headphones you can get out there, and they'll work with those. Has an 8-foot cable, so sometimes they come with a 10-foot, but these controllers are retailing for $25 American, so you're expecting $25 American, 30, maybe 34 max Canadian. That's a killer deal. That's basically half the price, if not less than half the price of buying, an official wireless controller. And then you got to put batteries in and all that crap. As far as responsiveness on the D-pad, it's actually got a really nice D-pad. It doesn't feel too mushy. It's responsive, but not overly clicky or anything weird. Same goes for your analog sticks. They click in. They feel really nice. You can control your audio through the D-pad, actually. And you can also control, get firmware updates, control it through, they have their own PDP app that's built in, you can get from the Windows 10 store. And it lets you map buttons, do a bunch of cool stuff. Pretty good. Basically, it can also let you detect if everything's working right on it. I do like that it's a detachable 8-foot cord, so you don't have to worry about if the cord breaks on it. It's like, oh crap, now my controller is completely useless. If in some instance, you have an issue with your micro USB cable, you can just unplug it and plug a new one in. So that's always a bonus. I like when they do that with the controllers, because a lot of times third-party controllers don't have that functionality. So I think it looks pretty sweet. It's going to be what I use primarily on my PC when I'm doing Steam reviews or anything else that way. I might take it with me on the go sometimes too, because it's actually pretty cool. The only downside I could say is it would have been nice. I'm not a big, light up sort of fan. I do like that it only has a light that shows when it's on. But sometimes for those gamers out there that are maybe a little younger than me, I guess because I'm old, they sometimes like having complete RGB lighting or having the whole thing light up or something. But in my mind, this is a plus not having it. But for some people, they might be expecting that it does that. It does not do that. But it is a really nice color. And I'm going to play with it a little more. And then when Mr. Christopher and Birdman get a chance to try out theirs, they can give sort of their thoughts on it as well. But my initial review is that it's a pretty fantastic controller, especially for $25. I'll put links in our show notes for when this airs, and you'll definitely want to check it out.
What makes you qualified to be a reporter? I'm willing to violate anyone's privacy for my personal gain and then claim with a straight face that the public has a right to know.
By the hand of Zeus, what manner of deviltry is this?
I love fake alien poop day.
And we are back with the weird, wacky, and just plain fucked up. It is the weird news time now. So, again, just like with the news, I've got 3 quick stories for you because I'm flying solo this week. But what we've got are some 3 little neat, interesting things. We've got YouTube star banned for 5 years after feeding homeless man toothpaste-filled Oreos. This is brought to you by Newsweek. And it says, a YouTube star has been banned from the platform for 5 years after he made a video tricking a homeless person into eating Oreo cookies filled with toothpaste, then joking they would clean him. Oh, that's not good. Okay. 21-year-old Chinese YouTuber Kanghua Ren, creator of the popular channel Reset, was given the unusual sentence by a judge for the video posted in January 2017. In the now deleted video, the Barcelona-based prankster filmed himself filling cookies with toothpaste before repackaging them and handing them over to a 52-year-old homeless man named by authorities as Jorge L. As he ate the Oreos, Kanghua remarked, "Maybe I've gone a bit far, but look at the positive. This will help him clean his teeth, and I think he hasn't cleaned them since he became poor." The cookie caused Jorge, originally from Romania, to vomit, with him telling Spanish newspaper El Pay he had never been treated so poorly while living on the street. The YouTuber went back to visit, or he recorded a video saying, "People exaggerate over jokes in the street played on a beggar. Surely, if it's done to a normal person, they wouldn't say anything." Him and a friend then visited the homeless man a third time for another video in which they planned to spend the night with him, but a witness called the police. Kengwa, whose video attracts millions of viewers, made $2,475 in advertising from the video, according to court documents. He was charged with a crime against moral integrity, but this 15 months prison sentence will not be carried out as he has no prior criminal record. At the ruling, the judge called his actions a clear and unequivocal act of vexatious content. Ooh, I like those words. And the toothpaste the homeless person ate caused physical suffering. He must also pay $22,305 to the victim in compensation, including, according to the judge. At the trial, he claimed the video was just part of the challenges that he created on the channel and that the whole event was broadcast in a joke. Prosecutors sought a 2-year prison sentence and 30,000 euros in compensation. His channel has over 1.2 million subscribers. The latest video published on May 21st. Not only will he have to erase his channel under the judge's ruling, but he's also not allowed to create new content for the next 5 years. Oh, get wrecked, son. That was quite insensitive. It's the kind of prank you make on a friend or a family member if you're doing it for this, like somebody you know and love that you're doing it just for that. That is pretty abhorrent to be doing it to a homeless person. Now, the homeless dude, getting that kind of money, 22 grand US, maybe he'll be able to, pick himself off the street and use this to better himself. At the same time, the guy that made the video, you really think that was an okay thing to do? You kind of probably deserve the actual prison time, but 5 years without being able to make content, as well as being fined a good 10 times what your video made, that's at least some sort of karma there. So our next story is Baskin-Robbins is releasing Stranger Things ice cream. Yes, that sounds amazing. While there's still a bit of wait for the next season of the popular show Stranger Things, Baskin-Robbins is offering fans a taste of the upside down in its new flavors of ice cream. According to the new flavors, Breyer's House of Lights Polar Pizza ice cream treat with M&Ms that resemble Christmas lights. There's also a Demigorgon sundae that looks like one of those monsters from the show. The tie-in also extends to regular ice cream with 2 flavors of the month. 11's Heaven ice cream is flavored like a waffle cone and has chocolate icing, and the upside down Pralines ice cream is chocolate with Pralines pecans. The 3rd season of the show is set to air on the 4th of July. That's pretty cool tie-in, and the packaging is actually really neat for them too. So maybe that's something you'll have to check out, I guess. Now, I'm not a big Baskin-Robbins fan because their ice cream at the stores are kind of expensive, but if you're going to treat yourself to something a little neat, maybe give it a go. So that's something to keep your eye out for, and I can't wait for the 3rd season of Stranger Things to actually air. And our last little story comes from, fairly close to home, Hamilton. This is from the CBC reports, man caught smuggling nearly 5,000 leeches in luggage. Live medicinal leeches found in cloth bags on flight from Russia, of course. A Niagara Falls, Ontario man has been fined $15,000, so like 12 grand American, after he was flying into Canada with a suitcase full of leeches. Ippolit Dudonov tried to smuggle 4,788 live medicinal leeches in his carry-on luggage, according to the Environment and Climate Change Canada. He just flown to Russia to Toronto Pearson's airport. He carried the leeches in a large reusable grocery bag. A large reusable grocery bag. It's probably one of the ones from Dollarama. Within the bag were 10 smaller dampened cloth bags. A dog working the border agent smelled the leeches. This is our first large-scale illegal leech import, says the government. Although the ministry sees a lot of illegally imported reptiles, turtles, tortoises, and snakes. But I like that quote. This is our first large-scale illegal leech import. The ministry sent leeches to the Royal Ontario Museum in Toronto, where they identified them as a threatened medicinal leech. Surprisingly, all leeches survived. It's disgusting. About 240 were then sent to the American Museum of Natural History in New York, where DNA sequencing on their stomach contents revealed they were caught in the wild. So I guess that way they're trying to make sure that I can get from like some sort of human leech farm. I also noticed that they showed a picture of the officer's patch from the environmental organization. The Canadian symbol, it's got like all the fancy sort of police badge symbol you'd think, but it has a duck in the center. Like, really? It's a duck. Okay, anyway. People have been harvesting the breed for medicinal purposes since medieval times. New Age medicine practitioners, putting in quotes, use them as for anything from lessening arthritis pain to preventing baldness. He said, although there's no scientific proof that any of it works. The only proven use for leeches in medicine, he said, is to stimulate blood flow to in reattached fingers and toes. In some cases, they also deter strokes in very rare and specific cases. Medicinal leeches sell for between $8 to $20 each. Wow, that's actually a lot of money. Not only are they threatened and unregulated, but they are invasive species too. Oof, that's not good. He pleaded guilty to violating the Wild Animal Plant Protection and Regulations Act. He was fined and also banned for the year from importing, exporting, and possessing any animals regulated through the Convention of International Trade and Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. He said the government said the illegal wildlife trade is worth about $20 billion a year. Canada does not tolerate the exploitation of threatened species for profit. So that's that. But let me just add this up here. So let's say it was on the lower end. He was going to ask $8 a piece. So $8 times, let's get this calculator out here. So 8 times 47. He was going to make between $38,000 and $55,000 off of this, which is kind of crazy. That being said, I do get the medicinal purposes of promoting blood flow, because it's just like having a nosebleed, right? Like you have a nosebleed, your body has to produce new blood. So I guess there's some purposes for it, or stopping strokes. I can get that, or maybe putting it on an area of the body that might be prone to blood clotting or something. So that's kind of neat. But yeah, they're disgusting, horrifying, monstrous demon creatures. But yes, so that is that's a story. And I do believe the government when they say this is the first large scale illegal leech import they've ever had to deal with, and I hope it's the last one. So that's going to do it for the weird news this week. And after this, we are going to go to another review, and we've got a special, a little special instead of Satan's Pantry. This week we've got the one I talked about earlier in the show, my On the Buses segment, and then we'll kind of come back and end the show off and talk about what's coming up next.
Do you have any hobbies?
I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
Hold that thought. It's crapper time.
Trails of Cold Steel 2 Relentless Edition is brought to you by Xseed Games. Now, this is the direct sequel to Trails of Cold Steel 1, which had been released, I believe it was a couple months ago. I did a review on it. It is one of the probably best traditional Japanese JRPG franchises out there today. If you listen to my review of the previous title, it's got a large interwoven story with grabbing bits and pieces of elements of all the best games out there. You want mecha battles? Well, there's mecha battles. You want relationship building? There's relationship building. You want traditional battle systems where you can see the order of what's happening, a la Final Fantasy X? It's here. You want everybody having special abilities and powers that they can only activate certain times of battle? That's here too. You want the ability to upgrade your weapons, to learn more about the lore, reading books and backstories. That's here. You want extra missions, secret missions. everything's here except fetch quests, which is amazing because that seems to be something that JRPGs have been getting into lately. Well, it stays away from that. It basically takes all of the best elements of every type of game out there and adds a bit of that Persona magic that's sort of been out there since Persona 3, 4, and 5, and sprinkles it into a world where you are in an almost pseudo-European turn-of-the-century type world. Now, I can't get into the plot because this picks up directly after the first one, and you really have to play the first title to enjoy it. There will be a recap at the beginning of the game of what's happened, but this is one of those games where you carry forward a lot of stuff. Like, if you import your save from the first game, depending on how well you did, you get certain items and certain abilities and certain things you can use in here. And if you beat the game, you get New Game Plus modes. Beat it 2 or 3 times, you can unlock a whole bunch of extra playthrough styles. Now, what this includes is the exact same features that were upgraded in the previous title, which is amazing. The ability to fast forward gameplay, to skip through scenes if you've played them before, like I have originally on the PS3. You have the ability to play it in 4K and higher graphics. It's similar in graphical style to the previous game, slightly better. Everything's just slightly more improved. The audio, same deal. Load times, it seems like they just did incremental improvements because this is a direct sequel made on the same engine. Now, is it going to look like an amazing, PS4 title? No, it's not going to be the cutting edge. It's not going to be Final Fantasy 15 graphics. It didn't have that kind of budget. And also, you got to remember that these were originally released on the Vita and PS3. That being said, they are dramatic upgrades in graphical quality and audio and just overall load times and everything from that previous title. They've added a whole bunch more lines of spoken dialogue. They've tweaked the actual script a little bit here and there to make it a little flow a little better, I guess is the best way to put it. And all in all, it's actually a pretty good deal, especially when you're paying $60 Canadian. I'm assuming it's about 35, 39 American, something like that, maybe 49 maximum. And if you buy it retail, you'll get a copy of a musical selection soundtrack, and then like a couple little collectory doodles inside of there, which is pretty neat. You end up continuing directly on from the previous title. Like I said, gameplay's at 4K at 60 frames per second. There's 50% more added voiceover work, which is actually more than the previous title, and I did notice it. And it also gives you all the DLC that was in the previous title. Like, I already had that DLC because I had purchased it for the original system, but the DLC gives you some stuff like, for example, starter sets for your recipes, but also there's these things called shiny palms, I believe it's called. They are an enemy that you can only get through, basically you open an item and they'll appear on the map. When you kill them, it's basically an instant level up for a character when you beat them. And every time you beat them, you get a level up. So you get about 30 of these things. So if you get stuck at a point in the game or near the end of the game, you're like, I really want to level up my characters. You can spend about a half hour just going through and leveling your characters up by like 30 levels pretty fast. So you never feel like you're stuck in this game. There's a variable difficulty, from easy all the way up to nightmare. Playing through it, I decided to go with normal on this one because I played it easy on the original PS3 version. And I found that it seemed to be a little better balanced than I remember. So it's really just the best version of the game you can get. And it's highly recommended. I can't go into the plot because this is a very plot-heavy game, and it's actually one of the best stories I've played. It mixes a bit of steampunk with ancient technology, with airships and pseudo-European cultures. And there's very few antagonists in this that are, evil for the sake of being evil, like you see in a lot of JRPGs. It's one of those things where, depending on how you look at it, everybody could be right, which is, the sign of a good game and good writing. So I highly recommend it. This is a must-buy from me, at least. And I think I'm going to try to get Birdman to play Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2 as well, since they're fairly cheap on the PlayStation Store. And it's something that maybe over the summer that would be a good thing for him to get involved in once he finishes with his Persona run that he's doing. Now, this leaves the game open at the end up for the next, because there's 2 other titles that have been released in Japan, Trails of Cold Steel 3 and 4, and I believe we're getting 3, and we'll see what happens after that. And it's totally worth picking up. It's time for another episode of On the Buses. Satan's Pantry is taking a bit of a break right now as we start preparing the next recipes to show off to people. And I was inspired to do a segment that I had thought about for quite some time now, that is something I wanted to do years and years ago, which is my segment of On the Buses. Basically me regaling stories of the weird, the wacky, and what's happened to me in taking public transit everywhere. So basically what prompted this was this week I was visiting family, and I had just gone to see the Godzilla premiere, and which I really, really liked. And I was taking the bus home to visit family again. And when I was waiting for the bus, a woman came up to me, all intents and purposes, looked normal. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary, just a standard everyday person. Well, this person was not well. She proceeded to explain to me that she's a prophet for God, and I'm like, okay, so maybe she's like, religious Jehovah's Witness or one of these people trying to talk to me about your religion. No, that wasn't the case. She's a prophet for God because one time she said she was laying in bed and God appeared to her and then entered her body like a ghost or something, and told her everything was going to be fine because he's going to kill everybody. He's going to rain meteors down to destroy the earth, and we're all going to be fine, and it's all going to be happy. And then she started laughing maniacally, not maniacally, like manically, like somebody who's not of sane mind. And I'm going, okay, please, I'm carrying things. I'm walking there. I'm very tired. I don't want to make any sudden movements or anything. And other people that were waiting for the bus decided to just, walk to the next stop and not be there while she was there. And, this is not, I'm not telling the story to, deride anybody or say anything, ill. Mental illness is a real issue. And I certainly hope this lady's getting the help she needs. That being said, it was pretty scary, and these are the sorts of things that can happen. She apparently, and she was telling me, is that not only is God going to kill everybody with meteorites, he himself is a meteorite. God is a rock, is what she kept repeating over and over and over again, and how she saw the patterns all over the place in the world, all over in the air. It's in the patterns. She kept repeating, I see the patterns everywhere. Apparently Katy Perry's song Fireworks is all about God coming and killing people with meteors. So is some Avicii songs, Lil Wayne. She listed a bunch of them. She was actually a pretty good singer. So it's not something I've heard before of, God itself being the destructor and also being a giant rock. That God is not a spiritual being. God is literally a rock going to come kill us. And she's like, she wasn't like even apologetic, she's upsetting people. She's just like, I'm just so happy when I talk about God, because to be a prophet, she goes, you have to be homeless and you have to give up everything, like your kids and your jobs, because you can't worship God and have those things. And I'm just like nodding my head. And the weird thing, again, like I said, she's not somebody who, looks like anything. Mental illness comes in all shapes and forms, right? And I'm just like, I was worried she was going to get violent, and she wasn't. She just kept going on and on about how God is killing everybody, but that she was going to go see her kids right then. And I'm like, oh boy. So that is, just one of the interesting people that I met in the last few weeks taking the bus. And it doesn't happen all the time, but every once in a while you get a doozy like that. And all you can really do is like, you nod and agree and smile and say, oh, have a nice day and all that, because what can you do? You really can't do anything if she's out there and about and doing her thing. I'm not going to be the one that argues with her about it, because that would not end well for anybody. So, that's basically just my quick story here. I've got plenty more. So whenever we have an off time, maybe I'll put them on Turd or Treasure as a segment, and then any time that we've got a gap to fill, if we don't have a Satan's Pantry, I can tell you many tales. Like, for instance, there's the time I almost killed a kid by farting in his face on the bus by accident. I might tell that next time, and maybe some more. Okay, so that's going to do it for On the Buses this week.
Those magnificent bastards. Color me kooky, but something very odd is going on around here.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
That's just about going to do it for the show this week. Coming up on the program, we have... I'm not sure if Mr. Christopher is going to be on the next week with me, but we're going to see. It might have another guest star or two. We're going to see how everything goes, because we've got our E3 coverage starting this coming week. Friday, I believe, is when the EA programming starts, and we're going to be hopefully live tweeting a bit about each of the press conferences, as well as after each conference, hopping on to do a quick little update on what our thoughts are on each one, and then do an overall finish at the end. We're going to have a regular show, but it'll be probably a shorter, truncated one, simply because of all the E3 coverage. But during the week here, I believe we are going to have a Turd or Treasure, depending on how much content we have to come out. There's going to be probably a commentary. I also recorded some stuff with Mayhem Mike's with Mike Blanchard, that I'm not sure when he's going to be releasing that, but we're going to have that episode out soon. And it's going to be interesting. Birdman's taking a bit of a break because he's had some personal issues to deal with, which you can give him your love on Facebook and Twitter. And it's going to be an interesting summer. So far, we're lucky it hasn't been too crazy hot, so we can get to recording and not have to worry about recording in the dark and the air conditioned or anything. So that's going to be it for this week. Thanks for listening. It was great having Blanchard back for sort of an extended intro / topic on, what's up with him, what's been new. Maybe we're going to do some more stuff with him again. And, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, son, now you're starting to scare the viewers. Just act normal.
I'd ask you to do the same, but I'm afraid that ship has sailed.
Why are there so many ostriches? But you have a game that is dipped in a
ropey, thick window cocking.
So guys, we'll be right back right here on This Week in Geek, only on thisweekingeek.net and many other sites where I syndicate this crap, because I'm a media slut.
I like turtles.
Loose like your mom.
That's right.
No fisting, you say. Anything else you object to?
Me likey tater tots.
You've been listening to This Week in Geek. Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net for more geek content, and subscribe to our podcast through iTunes or any podcatcher. If you'd like to comment on this episode, head to this episode post on thisweekingeek.net and comment through Facebook Connect. Or you can call our voicemail line at 817-717-7202. Follow and message us on Twitter at This Week in Geek. And check out our Instagram at twig_official_podcast. And if you're the good old-fashioned email type, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. We'll see you next time. And remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
Aquaman, swift and powerful monarch of the oceans, with ability to summon and command all creatures of the deep. Aquaman, who with his teenage ally, Aqualad, guards and defends all that lives in the seas against the forces of evil. Aquaman, king of the seven seas.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive #1, #2 employee. Leave a message at the... Hey, Jamie, it's me, Jamie. This is your daily pep talk. I know it's been rough going ever since people found out about your a cappella group, Mad Harmony, but you will bounce back. I mean, you're the guy always helping people find coverage options with the Name Your Price tool. It should be you giving me the pep talk. Now get out there, hit that high note, and take Mad Harmony all the way to nationals this year! sorry, it's pitchy.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's Employee of the Month, 2 months in a row. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's me, Jamie. I just had a new idea for our song about the Name Your Price tool. So when it's like, tell us what you want to pay, hey, 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 and the trombone goes, blah, 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 and you say, we'll help you find coverage options to fit your budget. Then we just all do finger snaps while a choir goes, statements coming at ya, statements coming at ya. Yes? No? Maybe? Anyway, see you at practice tonight. I got new lyrics for the rap break.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.